Hey everybody, welcome to this week's video. I hope you're doing well and I wish you a good Shabbos. So a couple of great things happened this week. We poured the concrete for the mikveh. Very, very exciting. The construction is moving ahead at full speed and Hyde Park is on the way to getting its first mikveh. The last mikveh on the south side of Chicago closed up in 1976. That's a very long time. It's long overdue that this community should have what is a staple in the Jewish community, and that is a mikveh. More on that at another time. Um, a sad thing that happened this week was the passing of a dear friend of ours, Ernest Slotar. I've known his son Dylan for many, many years, and as a result, got to know Ernest and his dear wife Anthea. Lovely people and their family. And I want to share something about Ernest that really ties into this week's parsha. One of the things that people said about Ernest is that people would come to him for advice. People would turn to him for ideas, suggestions. He was always one to share wisdom. And he had friends and colleagues and relationships with people of all walks of life. And many of his friends were half his age because people really liked to consult with him and so on. How does that tie into the parsha? Well, this week's parsha talks about three types of people. Parsha is Pinchas. Now, Pinchas is a zealot. Pinchas is a firebrand. Pinchas, we're told, avenges God in the sense he sees Zimri, one of the leaders of the Jewish people, committing this promiscuous act with Cosby, a Midianite pagan woman, and everybody's looking and say, okay, this is okay, this type of behavior is fine. Look, Zimri is doing it, and he kills them. And that's a whole long discussion of whether he was permitted to and so on, but is considered a hero in the sense that he is a zealot. He takes action when needed and in a very strict and determining way. Then we have the daughters of Tzlafchad. The daughters of Tzlafchad are a group of 5 righteous women who come along and they say, listen, our father died and we want a portion of the land. Normally it goes to the males, but he had no sons and we demand a portion of the land. And Moses is a little befuddled. And indeed, God says, absolutely, that is the law. And the truth is, it was going to be the law anyway, according to our sages. But these righteous women merited that the law should be spoken through them. We could call the daughters of Tzlafchad as activists, political activists, or somewhat activism, social activism. We want change. We want something different. And they were 100% correct. Now, zealotry doesn't really have a strong place in Judaism. There are times when we had zealotry and it was somewhat good, somewhat many times bad. Very hard to determine if the zealot is actually doing this for the right reason. And people even complained about Pinchas, that he was doing it just because he was a hothead. And it was only after he was given the status of Kohen was it determined that no, he was really doing it for the right reason. The problem with zealotry is it oftentimes brings out negativity in people. It doesn't really have much of a place in Jewish life, and Jewish culture in a proper way. We don't have a leader who's a zealot. It's a little tough, a little difficult. Even Elijah was reprimanded for his zealotry, and it was only verbal. But we have another part of the parsha where Moses knows he's going to die. It's already been determined in the previous parsha of Chukas. God says to Moses, because you struck the rock, you didn't speak to the rock to get water out of it, you didn't sanctify my name in front of the people, you will not enter the land of Israel. And Moses turns to God and says, God of spirits, appoint someone who can lead the people. Take them in, take them out, lead in front of them, lead behind them, that they won't be like a sheep without a shepherd. The rabbis tell us, what does it mean, God of all spirits? The God of all spirits of all flesh. What does that mean? So Rashi brings, he says, because God knows the spirit of every individual. Only God can know that each one is different. Everybody thinks differently. So Moses was saying to God, please appoint someone that can accommodate, that can tolerate, that can lead people of diverse thinking, of different minds. Is there someone that you could appoint that can truly lead the people when they are such a diverse people, when they have different minds? That was the type of leader that Moses wanted God to appoint. And indeed, Joshua was the person who would lead, and he was one who was able to bring the people, coalesce around the people. And this is something which leadership needs and hard to find, certainly impossible to find in our current climate. That's the true leader. And the true leader is not someone that runs for leadership. Oftentimes, the real leader, like Moses didn't want to be the leader. He tried to get out of it. Joshua, Joshua was a servant. Joshua wanted to stand next to Moses. He had no reason, no desire to take over. The true leader is not the one that wants to be the leader. The true leader is the one that wants to serve the people. And we found this by the Rebbe, for example, when his father-in-law died, he said, "I'm not doing it." And even when he reluctantly took upon the leadership, he said, "I'll only do it if the people are going to stand by me and help me." The truth of the matter is, this idea of leading others is not just for people who are official leaders. It applies to all of us. The late Rabbi Jonathan Sachs visited the Rebbe, and he was really inspired. Here he was, a college student. The Rebbe started asking him questions. What are you doing for Jewish life in Cambridge? What are you doing for the community? He didn't have much to answer. But he came out and he said, some leaders are looking to make followers. The Rebbe wants to make leaders. We're all leaders. We're leaders in our home. We're leaders in our community. We're leaders amongst our friends. We have to know that we can inspire others, but we have to do it in a way that speaks to the individual without putting them down and recognizing that people have different opinions, different viewpoints, and different ways of doing things, different ways of understanding things. And then we understand that and we do it for the right purpose, to serve God and to serve people. And people will follow, people will listen, people are receptive to change and to really following your leadership. So this is a parsha about leadership, not the zealotry type, not even the activist type, although that has more of a place, but the one of tolerance of diverse opinions, where we can gather around together and understand that we're not going to agree on a lot of things. But especially when it comes to Judaism, we need a Jewish future. And it's up to us to inspire ourselves and to inspire those around us. With that, I wish you a good Shabbos.